The year is 1780. Charleston is besieged by the British. The Revolution, for all practical purposes, is lost. All that remains is one small band of men, and a quiet, slight man who knew these swamps better than any soldier alive. The Swamp Fox, Colonel Francis Marion. The Francis Marion National Forest. 250,000 acres of blackwater swamp, longleaf pine, and silence. Recently, a trove of letters was discovered written from members of Marion's unit to their loved ones back home. Our crew set out to experience the forest through these letters.
My dearest Eleanor, I pray this letter finds you well. Think of you often, more so on nights like this one, when the clouds press low and the air smells of coming rain, and a man wishes for nothing more than a warm hearth and familiar company.
My dearest Ruth, I hope this letter reaches you before the cold sets in proper and that little Elliot has recovered from his cough. Kiss him on the forehead for me and tell him his father is well, if somewhat singed. I write to you this evening by the dim light of a fire that I am no longer permitted to fully enjoy.
I have little news of great consequence to share, save for this evening's most humbling episode. Private Stubbs declared with great confidence that he could rig a suitable shelter over our packs before the storm arrived. What followed was an hour of the most spectacular foolishness I have witnessed in this or any other campaign. The tarp was tied, retied, cursed at, prayed over, and tied once more. It collapsed 4 times.
Owing to an incident which I shall attempt to describe with what dignity I have remaining. After 6 months of sleeping on wet ground, one of my only small pleasures was poking at the campfire with a long stick. I find it a perfectly agreeable way to pass a quiet evening. Colonel Marion does not agree. I am not playing in the fire. I want that noted.
I wrote to you last week about Stubbs and the tarp, and I had hoped that would be the end of it, but I am sorry to report that the situation has developed. Stubbs, rather than accepting the matter as settled, has become what I can only describe as personally aggrieved by the tarp. It did not help that the colonel suggested water might pool on the top because of it was pitched at an insignificant angle. Yours, in both devotion and damp boots, Corporal Thomas J. Hale.
Dearest Ruth, I must tell you of the pot. I do not know where the colonel came upon it. I have seen smaller watering troughs. The colonel insists that one large pot is the only sensible approach to feeding his crew. Everything goes in together. The turnips, the salt pork, the questionable greens that Stubbs pulled from the riverbank. Ever your faithful and only mildly humiliated husband, Private William G. Farrow.
The Swamp Fox left no monuments. What he left is a forest that still holds its secrets. Pine and live oak, ancient cypress, saw palmetto, hiding the stories and struggles of its former inhabitants. The crew trudged on. They saw herons and hawks, gray squirrels and black squirrels, and Kevin. The designated pickup point lay north of UG along Old Highway 41. No sooner had the crew set down their packs than the clouds finally gave way. The rain came cold and steady, the way it always does in the low country, persistent, indifferent, unimpressed by human plans. They were going to need a tarp, and so, stretching the tarp between a stop sign and an old fence post, they remembered the lessons of old Stubbs, huddling beneath, eating lunch, and knowing the Swamp Fox would be proud. It was only then that they noticed they had pitched the tarp in a ditch.